everyone, and welcome to our online info session for the UX Design Certificate Program at Ashton College. My name is Lindsay, and I'm from the Marketing Communications team at Ashton. Today, I'm joined by Binoodha, one of our many wonderful instructors we have here at Ashton College. Hi, Binoodha. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So there are lots of ways to engage with us during the session, and we love hearing your questions. On Zoom, you can use the chat box, Q&A box, or the raise hand function. And if you are tuning in on Facebook Live, you can leave us a comment and we'll be able to answer your questions live during the session. If you're watching this video on YouTube afterwards, leave us a comment or give us a call at 604-899-0803 or a toll-free number at 1-866-759-6006. So before we start, I just want to share the program dates and costs with everyone. So we have both in-class and online intakes for the UX design course, and they both start Monday, May 2nd. The live online sessions will be held Monday to Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. PST time. And for those of you choosing the in-class options, sessions are held Monday to Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. PST. Application fee to apply is $40 for domestic students and $140 for international students. The tuition fee is $5,400 for domestic students and $6,750 for international students. All this information can be found on the program webpage. And now on to the interview. So, Binoodha, could you share with us a little bit about your career experience, your educational background, just a little about yourself?
Okay, so I completed my schooling in 2009. And at that time, there were only two popular career paths to either get into, that's engineering or study to become a doctor. And I was very sure that my heart didn't lie in either of those fields. So growing up, I always found peace in art and design. So I thought, why not pursue that? So I went to complete an undergrad degree in media and communications. During this program, I interned at this full service agency called Glitch. And as soon as I was done with my course, I was able to join them full time. And at Glitch, I got to really be part of like different interactive digital experiences and ideate and create solutions for them. But that time, our focus was only on the UI part of design and very little about the user experience. It's only later, while exploring like the IDEO and other human-centered design case studies, I started thinking about the users. And from there, I joined a firm in Oman, where we worked on a lot of projects for the government, specifically in the tourism industry. And there I got to really use this newfound interest or knowledge in user experience in all our products, through research, testing, having design iterations, and collaborating with other team members in the organization. And at one point, I wanted to explore the field further. So I decided to pursue a master's degree in design research in Canada, following which I got to work with some really great companies in Canada that really put focus on user experience. And currently I'm working with a company called Trust Flight that builds tools and services for aviation records. So it's been a very interesting journey working in like 3 different countries and experiencing how the culture really influences your work and how you really have to keep the users at the heart of everything.
Wow, that sounds super fascinating. My undergrad is also in communications and media studies, so it's really cool that you took that and then went the UI and UX way, because that does interest me. So that's really cool that you did that. I would love if you could maybe explain the difference between UX and UI a little bit, just so we can, just very basic, so we know what the difference of those two.
Yeah, so these are like, for me, UI is it's user interface to firstly explain the terminologies, and UX is user experience. If you are a UI designer, you're predominantly looking at what someone sees on the screen and what they're looking at. So you're looking at the interface, the designs in terms of how it appears, where things are placed, and maybe what colors they are, and much more. It goes much more deeper than this. But if you are in the UX field, you're more concerned about the emotions or experiences. So um, why would you place the button where it is, and how does using a certain color font affect the readability for different users? So I would say like UX happens behind the screen and the UI is what you see in front of you.
Wow, that's awesome. That just made me think before I get to the questions I've written down, I have another one I would like to ask. How recent has accessibility become such a big thing to focus on in UX and UI? So I know that's definitely more talked about now, but I feel like it wasn't always such a big deal.
I think it's in different industries. So when you come to like if you're working in like the government sector or health and design, like accessibility is definitely a big concern. But moving on to different fields, it's still predominantly ignored. But I would say that there's more focus on accessibility at this stage where employers or companies that have projects are looking at how to build products that have the same experience for all users.
Awesome. Thank you for answering the questions I'm throwing randomly at you. Thank you. You're doing great about it. So how would the program, the UX Design Certificate course, be beneficial for students?
So what I really like about this program, setting the theory aside, is that you also get to learn from instructors that have industry experience. So you are industry ready when you complete this program. You will know how to tackle a project from its inception to nurturing it to grow and align with users' needs. So in UX, we say a project, your work is never done. It's constant refining and trying to make it better. So I would never say it's inception to end. Um, One of the instructional methods include group projects, which I believe is very important to learn how to collaborate and work with different brains and mindsets. So learning how to take and give feedback and how to use different individual strength in a UX project is very important. Um, and finally, the icing on the cake is that you get to develop your portfolio based on feedback from experienced instructors. You get critical and constructive feedback from people who probably know what employers are looking at when they're hiring.
I agree. The portfolio idea is so beneficial to have. I remember that was such a big deal when I graduated, was to have a portfolio, but I didn't really have much of one. So the fact that this program will create one with you, I think is amazing. So can you tell us the general structure of the program, maybe some of the main topics covered, and if you know offhand any like passing grades people need for the courses?
So as a general structure, the total duration of the course is 300 hours. In this 300 hours, you will learn about the foundation of UX, how to plan for a UX research project, how to use the research insights to inform your prototypes or wireframes, learn about responsive designs, which as all of us know is very important because we're all looking at things in different screens. The fundamentals of designing a user interface. So you also get a bit of UI and UX, how to use your wireframes or concepts to test with the users. Because often in the industry, you have to test at every stage and you don't have like a complete product to test, and you'll have to break down or use prototypes or wireframes, or sometimes you don't even have both of those to test. And then finally, you get to build your industry-ready online portfolios. As far as the grading goes, the students are evaluated through attendance, their exercises, presentations, the class discussions, and the final project. And the students must receive, minimum of 70% overall in order to complete the course successfully.
Awesome, thank you. So what are your expectations for students who enroll in the program? And how much study time do you think students will need not during the live webinars, but through the rest of the week? How much time do you think they need?
I would say they will have 3 to 5 hours of homework per week according to the outline. I would encourage them to spend few additional hours on researching for their projects and getting into the habit of exploring and upgrading their knowledge in the field, not just for the homework, but their own career.
Perfect, I agree there. I always read ahead. I think it's really good to do continuous research and be prepared before class so you have questions coming into it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think students will enjoy or appreciate the most about this program?
If you ask me, I would say, like, if you ask anyone else in the UX field, they will tell you that they've learned the most by doing, by making mistakes, or by collaborating and learning from each other. And students in this program get to go through that journey early on with like low stakes. Often a lot of courses focus on theory, and then after you graduate and start in your careers, you realize you have to start learning from all over again because there was a disconnect between the course and the industry experience. And that's the gap I believe this course is bridging.
Beautiful. I agree. There's only so much you can do with theory. I agree, definitely. Let's see. So what advice would you give to students who are maybe brand new to the industry or changing careers from something that's radically different than UX design?
So I would say be open-minded. So we're in an industry where you sleep and wake up next day to a new technology or system, and we have to constantly upgrade ourselves and be aware that the way we did something yesterday might be redundant today. To be curious, because I like to observe everything around me. You start noticing the user experience on every product you use. You look for inspirations everywhere, and you learn to understand why something works and doesn't work. So, and then I would say don't be lost in terminologies, because there are several ways to call some process you do, but what really matters is you know what the process is. Even within the industry, there are different terminologies for the same thing. So it's okay to interrupt someone and ask to clarify what they mean if they use a word you've never come across. And that's what you want to learn to do, like make things simple for people to understand, even when you present your work.
I love that, the fact that you're saying terminology, there's so many different ways to say something, and you can never really be in something like UX or anything that's really digital or always changing. It's
Yeah,
it's constant. You will never be a master. You have to continuously learn because it's changing and
yeah,
evolving every day, which is really cool. Also kind of scary as well.
yeah,
But super cool.
definitely. Yeah.
So what qualities or characteristics do you think make someone best suited for this career path?
I would say having empathy, because you learn that you're designing for people, and these people come with huge range of emotions and experiences that start even before they use your product and last after they disconnect from your product as well. So our job is to reduce their frustration and really think from their shoes. So we need to, and that's when what we spoke about earlier comes into play as well, about accessibility and inclusivity in these products. So design keeping everyone in mind. Often it's not possible to achieve that in one strike, but work towards it in wherever you can.
Awesome. And since I brought up career paths, can you maybe talk about, I know there's many different career paths. Could you maybe talk about a few if you can, if you feel comfortable explaining a few?
Sure. I mean, the world is really your oyster when it comes to UX, because you could be a product designer, can be a UX researcher, you can be a UX unicorn. There are so many different titles. Uh, but like any product that exists over there will need a UX or UI expert. What I've seen is you can maybe categorize this to health and design, aviation, fintech is upcoming. There's government, tourism, and even entertainment. So your options are vast, but typically the kind of experience you gain working in each of these different fields are different from each other. And I always say you'll always be a UX professional and something more, because every industry you work in, you learn a lot more about the industry because you're working so closely with your users, and you need to have a good idea about the product and the field that you're working in to be able to really understand what those frustrations are.
I love that. And from the little research I've done into different career paths, it also seems like you can do like kind of how HR is, you can do kind of a general UX person, or you can really focus in on like copywriting, let's say, or on the wireframes of it. I'm trying to like think of the wording I'm wanting for, or the research part of it. Like I believe you can also like focus in on different things if you want to do that, right?
So if you want to focus on research, then you can be part of, you can talk to the users, be involved in that sort of interactions. If your strength is wireframing, you can be involved in that. And there are some people who have both background in UI and UX, so they can incorporate the knowledge from both fields. There's also, I'm trying to think, I mean, there's a lot of things that based on your expertise that you can focus on.
It sounds like you can also make up a job for yourself as well.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I have a few more questions I want to ask you, and then I will open up to the floor if anyone has any questions. So please feel free to write in the chat box if you have questions, or if you're on Facebook, to write in the comments if you have any questions, and we'll get to them very shortly, okay? So, Binoodha, how has the industry changed during your years of experience?
So I think like for me, there's more awareness. There's definitely a focus on user experience. So we're moving from creating pretty things to pretty and functional products. So we had people in UXR from different fields, from psychology and other fields that come in that probably didn't have that much knowledge in design. And now we have a lot more courses that focus, design schools that focus on research, on user experience research. So we have a lot more people with experience in UI moving into research, and that I believe is a strong foundation.
Definitely awesome. So, oh, the last one is do your final words, but first I want to ask Nav, are there any questions on Facebook Live?
Yes, we do have a question from a Facebook viewer. So the question is, what are some simple skills I need to prepare for the course?
Simple skills for the course.
Yes.
I would say like what I find always helpful is look at case studies, look at different projects, really understand about what this field is trying to achieve. Uh, there's a lot you can learn. There's a lot case studies and examples out there with the internet right now. I would say look at people in the field that you admire, try and learn from their work. Look at the course structure, which is already up on the website. So you can already start exploring what the different what the different things that you would learn in the course.
And it sounds like you can go from having no knowledge to taking this course, getting some hands-on learning, and then already jumping into the field in the more maybe entry level, like everything. But it sounds like that's something you can do with this course, is go from nothing to course, portfolio, and job.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see if we have any on Zoom. Let everyone have a second before, see. Don't see any on Zoom. So I am going to ask you about, do you have any final words of advice or thoughts you would like to share for anyone thinking about taking the course or just anyone watching?
Yeah, I would say like keep again in alignment with the question that was asked a while back. So I would say keep learning, listen to podcasts, find people in the industry you admire and start looking at their work. If you're working in isolation, build an online network. Keep reviewing your work with your friends and family, because feedback is what will improve your work. And if you get a chance, consider this course, because it is really what we all wished we had before coming into the industry. You have all this information and knowledge in one place with great instructors.
Do you have any podcast recommendations since you mentioned
Uh,
podcasts?
Yeah, so one podcast I really enjoy listening is, again, like my expertise in UX research and user interviews. So I enjoy listening to Awkward Silences. Um,
I love that name.
so they talk about like different ways, really help you with your interview skills and asking the right questions, really. There are a couple of others called 99% Invisible, which is quite popular. There's UX Cake. There's Dollars to Donuts. I could probably share this list as well. So yeah, there's like a lot of them that you can listen to.
Definitely, yeah, we can definitely put it in the YouTube description. So if you share that list with me, I would love to share that with everyone. I do have a Q&A question to ask. Let's see. Coming from a print design background, how will my skills transfer, and will it help me as a UX designer?
So yeah, I would say I came from a print and design background. It definitely, I think having a strong background in all these fields, you really understand the medium. You just need to know what you're designing for and who you're designing for. In print, there are a lot of things that you can control. In digital, there are a lot of things you cannot control, and similarly vice versa. So I don't think that's going to set you back, but that's definitely going to add to your skills because you have experience working with a different medium. If you don't, if there's something that you wish to learn more, again, there are a lot of resources online that you can look at, and during the course structure, they will definitely guide you to have a UX mindset by the end of the course.